Welcome to this double 11th episode of China Tools. And those who follow my channel know that the double 11 festival at Banggood is the hottest week of the year to buy some products. And because of this, like the last 2 years, this video will be a bit different. It means that it is much more price driven. I want to show you many products and give my opinion on whether you should grab the opportunity to buy them for the lowest price of the year or leave it alone. And the reviews are a little bit less in depth, but I spent the same time I normally do to come to my conclusions. So we will speed up the pace. Let's get started. Oh, and for those who do not know who I am, my name is Dennis and I am from Hongdui. In my last episode I showed you this Hongdui Mallet cage fence and I rated it the highest score, and in this episode I showed you why I think it is the best Mallet cage fence on the market at this moment. And with the double 11 they dropped the price even further to $139. And I get many questions about whether it would fit an Incra Mallet cage or a renew Mallet cage. And when I tried it on my Incra Mallet cage, the original screws did not fit. So I had to change them. But besides that, there's no problem adding this fence to an Incra Mallet cage. But I also like the combination with the renew Mallet cage, especially when a basic Mallet cage fits your needs, but you want the full advantage this high-end Mallet cage fence has to offer. And during double 11, the renew Mallet cage cost around $53. And I rated this Mallet cage 4.5 stars. But I want to address that although it has a lot of positive stops, where you want to set an angle other than a positive stop, it becomes pretty hard to select and you need some help from an angle ruler. So when your plan is to use it on many unusual angles, it is best to use a more sophisticated Mallet gauge. But the ultimate combination is of course with the Hongdui Mallet gauge itself. And at the double 11, the complete set is just $269. And it sounds much, but you get the best Mallet gauge fence combination currently on the market. And I also tried it on this Enjoy Wood Mallet gauge, but that did not fit. And I also reviewed this Mallet gauge fence combination and rated it 4 stars. And it's a perfect Mallet gauge fence combination for the average woodworker who just wants a complete package. And for $106, this is an unbeatable price-quality ratio. Everyone with an MFT style workbench will need some MFT style workbench clamps. They are among the most used tools in my shop. And in one of my workshop videos about accessories for an MFT style workbench, I said that my favorite clamps are these from Bessie. And one of the reasons is that they do not shift the workpiece while clamping. And it does this exceptionally well without screwing it to the table. But it comes at a price of about 40 euros a piece. So when I saw this clamp that is now available for under $20 for a set of 2, I was curious how it would perform. And the build quality is pretty good considering the price. It is perfectly flat at the underside and the 20mm bench dog is positioned well. So it has everything needed to clamp a workpiece without lifting it a little. But unfortunately that is not the case. And I have to say that besides these Bessie clamps, I did not have clamps that made this work, so that does not make it a lousy clamp. In practice, with most of the work you do, you will not notice this. And when you need it to be perfectly flat, you can always screw it to the underside of your workbench. Although they claim a clamping force of 70 kg, in my test I measured a little bit under 60 kg. But to be honest, I do not consider this a bad thing. In the video where I tested my Bessie, I said that 70 kg is ridiculous force. It's just too much. It costs more effort to clamp it because 70 kg will create some resistance, and it is so much that it creates unnecessary stress on your workpiece, your workbench and clamp. So this clamp feels much more natural. It still creates so much clamping force that with some fragile workpieces it's better to keep it a little bit from your workpiece before clamping. Compared to this renew clamp I reviewed in episode 9, it is so much more powerful, and it is also much lower with only 50mm, which makes it a perfect clamp when you want to do sanding with over 50mm thick workpieces. Compared to this renew clamp, it's such a significant improvement that I decided to remove the renew clamp from my list and place this one instead, because you will be much better off. With the double 11 festival they offer them for 40 euros a piece or just $20 for a set. And although the Bessie clamps are still my favorite so far, for 1/4 of the price of the Bessie clamps they represent a great value. And this is my scoring card. The following tool is a perfect Christmas gift. It looks like jewelry, and I'm pretty sure you will like it when you open the box and it shines at you. Look at this, what a beautiful small mallet. The fit and finish of this product are just incredible. This is a high quality tool. It is a small but heavy mallet that gives a good balance in your hand. It comes delivered with these two plastic covers and gives good control when you work with your chisels. And although small, it weighs 650 grams. And you can read the letters KM80, and KM stands for Cats Moses. And Hongdui and Cats Moses developed this tool together, but it comes at a price. That said, when I visited Henry and showed him this mallet, he ordered it even before I left his shop. So I'm pretty sure many people like these kind of high quality tools. And for those, I can only say that now is probably the best time of the year to buy. And this is my scorecard. When you want to raise the bar of your woodworking products, you want your screws to be slightly recessed. And doing this consistently gives a more clear and organized look and adds some quality to your project. And I use a countersink drill bit with a stop from Fast 2 for this. And I cannot say anything bad about this product, but they are pretty expensive. So I was pleased to get this one for only $90. And my first impression was a bit, and the first thing I noticed was that the screw to set the depth was just a hair too long, so you could not lock it. And a small washer fixed this problem. So okay, not perfectly, but easy to handle. And the balance seems okay, even with my small washer. But while drilling, it becomes out of balance and it vibrated it more than it should, in my opinion. But when the countersink bit touches the surface, things become terrible. It vibrates even more, it is dull, it creates a lot of heat. So to be short, and that is a shame, I cannot recommend this product. Because the Double 11 is the most exciting time of the year to buy something from Banggood, on my site www.hookedonwood.online you can watch the ranking among all the products I tested in the last few years. And a product with a rate of 4 to 5 stars are all worth consideration. And the best prices of the year can give some extra motivation to get them now. But if you want some inspiration how to make the best of your workshop, you will find exciting information to look at your workshop from another angle. And now I have plans available for most of these great ideas. So visit www.hookedonwood.online. Another product that Hongdui developed with Cats Moses is this RPlane. And it not only looks incredible, the quality is of very high level and comparable with the best in the market. And when I was visiting Henry, we compared it with his Lee Nielsen RPlane, and besides the quality that is on the same level, we found that the Hongdui RPlane is just a bit more convenient to work with. The height setting works perfectly and the construction makes it very stable and gives excellent control and feeling. And you can turn this completely middle piece around and use it the other way. The blades sit very securely and straight when you tighten them. By screwing the knife into this bar, we can perfectly use our sharpening system. And as a side note, I reviewed this sharpening system in episode 43. And I gave it a higher score, and this system consists of two parts. The angle fixture will be $37 during Double 11, and the actual sharpening guide is around $30, which makes it a perfect moment to get one of these for your own. It's the most straightforward system you can get to sharpen your tools, and even with less experience, you will get the best results. Anyway, working with this RPlane is very straightforward. You get perfect grooves or clean up and precisely level your tenons. And I was relatively easy capable of adding these small hinges perfectly leveled with this RPlane. You can add this RPlane right next to a Lee Nielsen or Veritas RPlane. Cats Moses know a thing or two about these products, and together with Hongdui they create a very nice, high quality, practical to use RPlane. And for this high quality planers, with this fit and finish, the price at the Double 11 festival looks like a bargain. And this is my scorecard. Placing hinges in the doors with a jig is relatively easy to do. These jigs are very handy and most come in different sizes, but basically they all work the same. You can adjust how far you want to start from the edge, and you can position your central hole and the two holes to screw your hinge into place. But this one goes one step further. It also helps you to place your mounting plate as well. So when I saw this one, I thought it could be a small, easy and affordable tool to have in your shop, just for those times you need them. And now with $1.11 they are very affordable. So to test it, I bought some cheap hinges from my local Home Depot. But we start by drawing a line on how far we want to place the hinges from the door sides. So let's say 70 mm. And now we can line up our jig and drill the holes according to the template. And you can also first make some marks with your center puncher and then drill your holes, and that could of course extend the life of your jig. And the middle hole we use to center the Forstner bit. And there is a package that includes the Forstner bit and the center puncher. And the Forstner bit is set to 12 mm deep. It's not the sharpest Forstner bit, but it gets the job done relatively convenient. And then it is just a matter of screwing it in place. So we usually now have to place the mounting plates. And when we have enough support like here, this will not be the biggest problem. But we do not have this all the time. And besides that, there is some convenience to just measuring where the holes need to go. Finally, it fits perfectly and is already perfectly aligned even without adjustment. So for the amount of money, I consider this a very handy jig to have in your shop for occasional use. But there is one but. This jig only works with the hinges that have the screw holes 48 mm apart from each other. And some brand uses 45, 48 or 52 mm space. So that makes the use a bit limited. I mostly use the Blum hinges that use 45 mm space. So keep this limitation in mind. For my scoring card, this limitation has some effect, but I want to value it for what it can do. And this is my scoring card. When we speak about hinge jigs, I just want to mention that my all-time favorite hinge jig has an incredible price at the $1.11 festival. And I reviewed this in episode 35 and give it the highest score. It's the most straightforward to use hinge jig and it is practically foolproof. There's zero play for errors and your hinges will mount fast, straight and perfectly aligned and consistent. But please watch episode 35 when interested because I'll tell you all about it. Anyway, with $1.11 they offer it for just $45. And for that price, I think it is a must-have jig. You get a better tool that you can use for all common hinges and it takes out all the possible errors you can make. And on top of that, it has a superb Forstner bit that is almost as sharp as my $30 Fish Forstner bit alone. So I can highly recommend this jig for that price. So this was a $1.11 video. I hope you liked it. Let me know in the comments. Anyway, I hope I have given some good information and showed you exciting products. Have fun shopping and we will see each other next time.